welcome to the stage Alejandro Artacho here in La Nave in Madrid. Please come and join us, Alejandro. Nice to see you. Alejandro is the co-founder and CEO of Spotahome, who have a fantastic logo, as you can see on his T-shirt there.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us here in person.
Yeah.
Lovely to see you.
Thank you.
And now we are going to virtually beckon our other guest speaker, whose name is Laura, pronounced in the Irish way, I'm happy to say. Laura González-Estéfani, who is the founder and CEO of the Venture City. Welcome, Laura. How are you?
My pleasure to be with you. Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, so I'm going to step back and I'm going to let you two talk about navigating the new normal. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, hi everyone. So the topic is navigating the new normal. And so Laura and I, we were thinking about, this is obviously a global crisis, but there are going to be more crises in the future. That is something that we all have learned. And in times of crisis, it's very important to have amazing investors. I'm very fortunate to have many great investors, and Laura is one of them. And obviously, COVID hit us really hard in Spotahome, as the same as travel industry. But then Laura was one of the investors that helped us through advice, as well as many others, because she has that experience. And maybe Laura, it's weird for me to say Laura. Do you have been in multiple sites in different crises?
Yes,
So maybe you can share some tips. Yeah.
Yes, I think I have a master's in crisis management. I've been in the dot-com bubble in 2000 years. I've been in the financial crisis in 2008, in the 2011, and now in the 2020. So I guess that for those that are in the entrepreneurial world, investors, entrepreneurs, we know that we're always in crisis. Sometimes it's because of context, as in the situation that we're facing today. Sometimes it is because you have issues with your team. Sometimes it's because you have issues with your competitors. Sometimes it's because you have issues with your product. So pretty much I've seen it all. And Alejandro and I were thinking about really sharing like stories of how we've navigated those situations. So for example, as a venture capital, right now in 2020, one of the things that we recommend is that we're all in crisis. It's not only that the founders of our companies are in crisis, we as venture capitalists are in crisis too, meaning that many companies of the portfolio are going through their lowest times, and we have to be working together and we have to support each other to go and navigate through. Sometimes we feel that it's just the people around us, the ones that are getting the hit, but it's all of us. Some of us also, or not in my case, but some others are getting the hit personally because they have family members that are going through the virus, and some of them have also lost a lot of people. So it's really a situation that is really kind of like unprecedented in many ways. And our recommendation on how we've navigated with the companies in our portfolio has always been about being transparent, very honest with the teams, with the investors, with yourself, so that we can get it through together. So, Alejandro, tell us a little bit, how are you doing after all these crazy months? How are you doing right now?
Well, I think, let me share a bit of our story in transparency. So when COVID arrived in March, then we are not in the travel industry, we are in real estate, but then many of our users around the world, they book accommodation in different cities and different countries, and therefore they need to travel, right? So all of that, it was blocked. So the same that happened with Airbnb, Booking, Expedia, revenue kind of went to zero, and then a bunch of cancellations. So by that time, actually, was our 6-year anniversary. When that happened, right? So you spend 6 years building a company, putting everything into the company, putting your health, and then suddenly everything is gone, right? So they say that suffering is the resistance to reality. And so I started to talk with the investors and then and shareholders and first you need to accept reality. And for me, what it was a good exercise, and it was in the very first days of COVID cases, is I outlined multiple possible decisions, and I took the hardest decision that I could take. And the reason I did that is to just remove all fears, and then you start facing all the other decisions in a different way, right? And my hardest decision was actually reducing the cost of the company by almost 80%, that meaning 80% of the headcount, because one of the things that it was clear to us is that a pandemic like this, it wasn't gonna be a thing of few months, and in our case, it would take a lot of time to recover. And then when you are the CEO of a company, cash management is your only job. Before you were doing product, helping in product, helping, doing recruitment, doing all, helping out the teams on multiple tasks. But then now your job is just cash management. And we were thinking, okay, we need cash for at least 2 years or even making the company profitable. So that's the decision that I made. And obviously letting go, in our case, 80% is a few hundred people. That was hard, but then I had the massive support from the board and everyone. And what helped us out there is, as Laura said, being super transparent from day one. We went to the team, we started to have 2 all hands per week, sometimes 3 all hands per week, and being bluntly honest with the company. I think people appreciate that you don't hide things and you are fully transparent, and then you are going through hard times, the same as everyone else. It's not their fault, but then your job is your job, right? And so be transparent. We had to do this process, and then my recommendation is always think in your team, because it's not their fault that they have to go, and they have been giving a lot to the company. So in our case, we did public directories and help people place them in different companies and do that. And unfortunately, it's something that many companies are doing. But anyways, having said this, it's actually a good thing because we did forecast very conservative, and actually everything is going much better than we expected, and our P&L now is much healthier than ever before, better margins than ever before. So actually I'm very happy with the outcome from a business perspective. It's not something that you wished for at the beginning, but then from hard moments you shape who you are as a professional and in a personal level, and the beauty about the journey is the person that you transform yourself, and only going through hard moments and pushing yourself to hard things are the way that you're going to grow, and your business is going to grow, right? So I leave it to Laura because...
No, I wanted to share, and with the spirit of being transparent, when I was in 2008, I was pregnant with my second child, and eBay, I was working for eBay back then, and eBay was going through a huge reorganization like the one that Artacho had to make because of the context situation, right? And I was one of the unfortunate that had to leave the company. And in that moment, I love the company, I love my teammates, I love the mission of the business, I was super happy, but the company had to restructure. So there I was. And the same year, at the end of the year, Mark Zuckerberg came to Spain to a Facebook developers garage organized by Martín Varsavsky in el Teatro Lara in Madrid. And I was fortunate enough as to get interviewed by the team, and I was hired. So basically what I learned from that crisis was that in the moment, it really breaks your heart. You understand why the company has taken the decision, why you, after being such an amazing, super supporter of the business. So the feeling is that sometimes doors close, but there are bigger doors somewhere else going to be open for you. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of the Spotties from Spotahome that had to leave, there will always be Spotahomers for sure. And I'm pretty sure they will do great because they were a great team once they were working with Artacho. So be optimistic, just adapt, being in the entrepreneurial world, we need to know as investors, as entrepreneurs, that things change from one day to the next.
Right.
And it's amazing to be working in these companies, but at the same time, we need to face reality when it comes. So transparency and honesty.
Absolutely.
And I think it's very important what you said about that being very fast and adapting, because when you need to do transformations like the one that we did, actually, it's also a good opportunity to focus on the basics, focus on what makes you strong, leave aside the things that they don't make any difference, and really going back to the basics and doing the things that you always wanted to do, but you had the external pressure for growth, and sometimes at all cost, and also to reinvent yourself and looking at different, for example, in our case, we are seeing parts of the market that are actually growing, so we are going to double down on those and then reinventing ourselves, and by being more nimble and leaner. Still, we have a lot of, our team is very big still. And now, it's all execution. Let's talk more execution and start that mode, and then, so yeah. We got to be super optimistic all the time, and more crises will come, but...
Super optimistic. I absolutely love it. That's brilliant. What an inspiring way to wrap up the conversation. Thank you both so much for joining us here at South Summit, sharing your insights, sharing your journeys. A phrase that struck me when you were both talking is sometimes the obstacle is the path. And, you're both kind of finding your way through it in fine style. Thank you so much, Laura González-Estéfani and Alejandro Artacho. Thank you so much for joining us. Brilliant.
Thank you.
Thank you.